So Kyriakos is the founder of Cyprus Audit Services Limited. He's also a partner for this event, financial, tax, accounting partner, and the general sponsor and partner of the event. But we choose our partners. We choose the people that we want to bring to the event. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring here, because not only you're an incredible accountant, financial consultant, entrepreneur, you started from scratch, but you've also been to our events and implemented the branding, which accountants rarely do in Cyprus. So I'm going to start with my questions. And everyone, I logged out of Zoom by mistake in the break, so type in your questions again, like copy-paste your questions again, because I cannot see the previous questions. So please copy-paste the questions again now. I remember the question about the jewelry shop in Greece, so we can do that. So type in your questions, and I will, I want to focus from questions from the audience, but more or less I know, because as a coach.
Yes, of course.
So just tell us a little bit about your background before we get started.
I'm a UK chartered accountant. I finished my degrees in London in a big firm, and I relocated to Cyprus several years ago, where I set up my own practice. So at present, we are servicing clients from all over the world, as well as local clients. We provide to them accounting, audit, tax, and audit services. And we assist them with the day-to-day operations of their companies as far as the back office is concerned and if needed.
Great. Let me know if you can hear Kyriakos well, by the way. The sound is good. I know I'm very loud, but other people...
I think I'm loud as well.
Type in yes. Great. So you started, you have offices in Nicosia and in Limassol right now, and you started on your own, right?
Yes.
You didn't have like a family
No.
Because I want to stress, starting from scratch, it's perfectly fine to start from, inheritance but it's perfectly fine to start from anywhere, but starting from scratch, anyone can relate. So first question is, what should a business owner know? And I have here like the step-by-step checklist of a small business. Okay. Actually, that's the first question a lot of my mentoring clients, when they come to me to make a transition from job to business, they ask me, should I enroll a company? Should I do something else? Like in Cyprus, we have the commercial name, which I had for many years. So I know I didn't enroll a company from the start, and I know I enrolled one company too early with a partner many years ago in Greece. And that was a mistake. That wasn't necessary. So I lost some money there. So there was somebody who wanted to start a business in Cyprus, found my agency, got me to enroll the company, a lot of expenses. So step-by-step process for somebody just starting out first.
First, it's very important to understand that the company is its own legal entity. So a company is something different from the person who is setting it up. A company has several obligations towards the authorities, and there are many things that need to take place as it is an independent legal entity. So you need to hire an accountant, because this company needs to prepare its VAT returns, its accounting records, and its audited financial statement at the end of each year. So it's a process basically that is required by the local regulators. So it's very important for the person who wants to decide whether or not to set up a company or not to understand this, that the company, it's an independent
legal entity.
Totally.
And this is what I didn't understand in the beginning. So when you get in trouble, when you operate as a person, you get in person in trouble.
Of course.
But the company can't get in trouble separately as a legal entity.
So once we understand that the company is a standalone vehicle, then there are three pillars that anyone should consider before setting up, before deciding whether to trade as a person, and we call them sole traders, or create their company where they will trade as a company. The first pillar is the taxation. The company has a fixed tax rate at 12.5%.
In Cyprus?
In Cyprus. Yeah, we're talking about Cyprus companies, unless you want me to talk about international companies. But
if anyone has a question about international versus Cyprus, type it in, because Kyriakos has the knowledge. If he has for the specific country, he will advise
we're talking about Cyprus companies. So the first pillar that someone needs to decide to consider is the taxation. If you're trading under a company, on the profits of your Cyprus company, you will be taxed 12.5%. If you're not Cypriot and you haven't been living in Cyprus, your dividends will be tax-free. So the international people who set up companies in Cyprus, they're a bit more privileged than people like ourselves because they have a special tax status as far as their dividends is concerned. So it makes perfect sense to have a company because the taxes are only 12.5% and not on turnover, but on the bottom line profits. At this point, it's important to stress that our tax system is quite flexible with what is allowable as a business expense. Now, the other thing to consider is that if a sole trader, so if someone decides not to create a company, they will be taxed on their profits based on the payroll taxes, which is much higher. So the tax starts with 20%, 25, 30, and 35% for profits exceeding 60,000, not turnover.
60,000.
Yes, not
profits.
turnover, profits.
So when is it it makes sense to start a company? How much money should you be making?
Yes.
To make
Yes,
sense to start a company?
It's not as simple as that. So, as I said, the one pillar that someone needs to consider is the taxation. Company 12.5, individual starts from after the tax-free amount of 19,500.
So we have a tax-free in Cyprus if you are an individual, 19,500 euro.
Very on, you have 20%, 25%, 30%.
Over and above.
Over and above. There are brackets which we can provide at any stage. So this is one criteria. The other criteria is the legal aspect of your business. So it's not a matter of creating a company just to pay less taxes. This is a common mistake, Pavlina, that most people do because they want to avoid the cost of creating a company and maybe the cost of hiring chartered accountants to prepare their tax returns, their VAT returns, and their audited financial statements. It's very important to understand that a company will protect you against third parties. So, for instance, if your business is risky, if you have contractors in tall buildings, or even if you're a professional who gives advice about millions or hundreds of thousands and you have a great responsibility towards your clients, you need to be protected. I mean, people choose people don't take this enough, they don't onboard this very important point that you need to be protected. And the way to be protected is by having a company, which limits your exposure. So, and the third point, of course, that someone needs to consider is the turnover, because after more than 70,000 worth of turnover, you are required to do audited financial statements. So whether you're a company or a sole trader, if your turnover exceeds 70,000, anyway, you need to hire a professional accountant.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So it's a matter of taxes, it's a matter of turnover, and it's a matter of liability. Maybe your business has lots of employees. If you have employees, by nature, you are responsible for them. If they get injured at the workplace or if an accident happens, they will be suing you personally and not your company. So you will be exposed as a person, as Pavlina Babalouga or Kyriakos Tramountanellis, to the courts by your employees and not the company. So the company is this veil of incorporation. It protects you from all this. So it's not a numerical exercise whether or not to set up a company. It's a step further than that.
What I advise my clients who are just starting out is you need to have a good accountant anyway.
Yeah,
and I stress good accountant, like find somebody who really knows to advise you.
Yes.
And that's why we brought you here, because they will tell you all sorts of different things. Different accountants, and
you need to understand this is a business. Accountants may want to sell companies to make quick, fast profits, or they know that the company has more filing obligations and more routine work than a sole trader. So it's more work for the accountants. So maybe most accountants might be tempting to sell more companies to potential clients instead of correctly advising them on a balanced decision. I mean, ultimately, is a business person.
I think ideal is to have like your accountant, you go have a meeting with him, maybe monthly, and what do you advise? Like a monthly meeting or Zoom or?
After the first two sessions, it's clear what you need to establish. And it also depends on your dreams and goals. If you want to start, if your turnover is between 50,000 and 70,000 or your expectations are not more than 100,000, So you're borderline on whether or not it's worth having a company or trading on your own, because expectations, as you know, in real life, we usually get lower results than expected. So it's a gradual step. Also, it's important to note that companies are more prestigious than trading as a sole trader. So if you go to your prospect clients or prospect suppliers, they will see you differently if your invoices or if your brand name is limited. It shows that you're bigger than the name and your surname with your personal tax identification number. So it's also a prestigious matter. And lastly, Pavlina, some funding schemes available either by the government or from a special department of the government, they only apply to companies. So if you're a sole trader, you might not be eligible to absorb funds from the government.
So
these are the parameters I think that someone needs to take into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, when you have your meeting with your accountant and you give him all the data, he will be able.
Of course, the client will decide what's suitable for them.
Yes, but the good accountant, will actually tell you the right steps to take at that point, and then when they see that, oh, your income this year is lower or more, they will advise you on the next step.
Maybe you are ready to make the transition.
A good accountant is your financial advisor.
Of course.
And they can help you avoid many mistakes on many levels of the business, right? You're acting as a financial advisor as well.
Basically, we protect our clients against, obviously, tax obligations, against filing penalties, but this is a given. I mean, this is our day-to-day operation. Further than that, we try to understand their business model. We review their business model. If it doesn't make sense, we try to adjust it if they listen to us in a way so that it's profitable, with main focus on cash flow and profitability, as well as a horizon of 3 to 5 years, because we need to see that our clients take the necessary steps to achieve their goals.
Okay. So the other question we have, we have a lady from Greece who is a digital designer, digital shop, selling jewelry.
Yes.
And she's asking, first question, can she set up the company here while she's based in Greece, and what about the payments? And secondly, like to benefit from the tax program that we have here. And secondly, what about, they have some government sponsorship programs in Greece. What happens when you enroll a company here? Because says that, how about sponsoring programs that we have in Greece? Can we still use them, or I would lose them? Do you have equivalent programs running there that the business can benefit from? For example, in Greece, we have ESPA programs that give a budget for e-shop creation.
It's very important for our audience to understand that in the accountancy world or in the tax world, you cannot have win-win situations. You win at some point, you lose somewhere else. And this is very important. It's like when your suppliers does not raise you an invoice and you pay them cash or what have you, he wins, but you are losing. Similarly, yes, you can create a company anywhere in the world and trade. However,
so she can have a company in Cyprus and be in Greece.
Yes, as long as she declares all the profits of the Cyprus company in her Greek tax return. For Greece, there is no dividend tax.
When she receives the money to an account in Greece, what will happen with the Greek government?
What's the process? Firstly, she needs to instruct a chartered accountant like ourselves to create a company for her. Once the company is up and running, has created its own bank accounts, is invoicing their clients and what have you, every month we will be processing the accounting records. At the end of each, maybe we will be required to submit VS reports, but every quarter for sure, we will be preparing and submitting their VAT returns. At the year end, after 12 months, we will prepare the audited financial statements, at which stage we as the auditors will decide on the taxable amount of the company. Once that tax has been paid, what's left is entitled to this shareholder to receive it as dividend.
As dividend.
Yes, because of the double tax treaty between Cyprus and Greece, because now dividend tax in Greece is only 10%, she can enjoy, even if she reports the dividend in her Greek tax return, a tax-free dividend. So all the dividends from Cyprus will be tax-free to her.
Will she need to do all her transactions from like during the year, salary, everything that she gets from the company from a Cyprus-based account, or can she?
It's entirely up to her, and it's something that we need to discuss because it depends on her personal circumstances.
Yeah.
The company, look, in Cyprus we have thousands of companies, tens of thousands of companies who are run without employees. And our income tax office understands this because most of these companies, to a great extent, I would say 95%, are foreign interest companies. So this is our business model. We want to attract international people to set up their companies here and to run without employees. However, a company needs to have its directors, its company secretary, and its registered office, these are services that fiduciary service providers licensed can provide. It's an additional cost basically to the setup, but that means that the company does not need to have any employees.
Okay, because we cannot go into too much detail.
Yes,
today.
I don't want to be very technical. The answer is yes.
You can also book a meeting with Kyriakos
yes, of
if
course.
you are interested to have him as your consultant. You can book a consultation.
Yes.
I don't know if you take
this is pretty standard. It's
we can paste the email in the comments.
Of course.
It's
KT at cyprusaccountants.com.cy.
KT at cyprusaccountants.com.cy. You can go on the details because it's going to take us too long.
It's technical, but the answer is yes, of course.
Savas is asking, because I know in Cyprus a lot of people are solopreneurs now and everywhere. Just name the benefits of having a company versus a sole trader. I think you named them, but like just
briefly. Having a company, if your profit is more than 60,000, definitely you cannot trade as a sole trader because you will be paying tax at the rate of 35%. 35%, I mean, it's the highest rate ever. It's like you're partner with the government. 1/3 of every profit, not turnover, of every profit that you have for your own disposal will be going as payroll tax, as pay as you earn. In addition to that, you will be paying higher social insurance, higher NHS contribution, because that profit that you will be making as a sole trader will be as if it is your salary. Mm-hmm. So it's the taxes are high, and you are exposed personally to the VAT, personally to the income tax office, personally to the social insurance office, personally to your employees, which might have claims.
Advise everyone, even as soon as they get started, even if they're not making, let's say, the basic 20K a year.
Yeah, I think the cost of setting up a company and paying a chartered accountant and the advice that you're going to get, definitely it's definitely worth it.
Okay. Because then you pay money on other things and you don't
Of course, and you lose time, effort,
and you
energy.
try to go to your own social insurance and this and that, and I've been through that.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, Pavlina, sole traders get more scrutinized by the local authorities than companies. Mm-hmm. Because companies have audited financial statements to submit, whilst sole traders whose turnover is less than 70,000, they can submit them on their own. So our income tax office knows that there are lots of mistakes, so they perform tax investigation, which ends up in higher payroll taxes, maybe social security.
It just gives you more credibility with the tax authorities if they see on the system
Definitely,
that you have an auditor doing your taxes. They log in and they can see everything now, and even on a European level, you are in Europe, they can check things. So it's better for your auditor to be logging in and doing everything.
To our international audience, it's important to stress that Cyprus is an EU country. Maybe the taxes are low, but it's fully regulated, fully monitored by the EU. Therefore, you would expect a certain level of scrutiny if you don't have a chartered accountant. Obviously.
So you're saying anyone from our international audience, whatever type of industry they're in, they can enroll the company in Cyprus and pay taxation here. There is a way to do it.
Of course. And there are many tax benefits if you want. I can stress them out now. Or
it's just like quickly give the benefits.
Basically, for trading companies, Pavlina, the tax is only 12.5%, okay? For trading companies, dividends, as we said, to shareholders who are not Cypriots are tax-free. So a headquarter that wants to sit here in Cyprus will only be paying 12.5%. There are special incentives for headquartering where they can bring their employees from abroad and get special fast visas and get extra tax benefits. They haven't been announced yet, but they will be announced. if you are designing intellectual properties such as software or patents or products with proprietary rights, then you can end up paying only 2.5% of corporation tax, which is really, really low.
Because we want to promote innovation.
Of course, we want to promote innovation, we want to become a financial hub. There are tax incentives for shipping companies where they can choose to pay their taxes based on the tonnage system instead of corporation tax. We have tax systems for movie production companies. It's under the scheme of Olivewood, where a production here in Cyprus can pay 25% or 35%, can pay up to 35%, can get up to 35% tax credit, or pay 25 or 30, or get 25 or 35% a cash rebate. This goes for movies. For funds and investment firms, trading of securities is tax-free. Capital introduced for these investments, for these companies, you can get a notional deduction at the year-end corporation tax. So you might end up setting a fund or setting an investment firm and paying only 2.5% at the year-end instead of 12.5%.
It's basically incredible for investors, for funds, for startups.
For high net worth individuals who want to reside in Cyprus, they can enjoy worldwide tax-free dividends if they stay here only 90 days and they don't stay overseas for more than 183 days. Disposal of securities is tax-free. Disposal of immovable properties, of assets, of houses from abroad is also tax-free. And these are very good incentives for the companies. These companies that want to come and establish presence here in Cyprus, we also have strong incentives for their personnel. Okay, the one incentive is what we mentioned. The first 19,500 are tax-free for all Cypriots. So on the payroll, when you book an employee, this employee will start paying pay-as-you-earn tax, not social securities, but pay-as-you-earn, after their taxable amount exceeds the 19,500. There on, if big companies want to bring their executives to the island who are earning more than 100,000, there is a tax break of at least 50%. So the income tax office assumes that from their gross remuneration, it will tax only 50%, which is a very strong incentive, again, because they will be paying very low pay-as-you-earn tax.
Even for a small company like mine, this 19.5 tax-free, it's very helpful.
It's good enough. I think it's the highest in Europe.
Have 1, 2 full-time employees, is still, or part-time even, is very helpful.
And the NHS, Pavlina, is very important to know. These companies, if they want to employ people here and they pay social securities for them, they will have to pay NHS, our national health system, which means that their employees can go to our public hospital and get treatment with minimum cost. I mean, almost tax-free. There are more tax incentives, like overseas tax is tax-free unless it exceeds 3,400. If you acquire property here in Cyprus that has VAT, you don't have to pay transfer fees. If you acquire property in Cyprus that doesn't have VAT, the transfer fees are 50% discounted, and this has been going on since several years now. There are many tax incentives.
Basically, Cyprus is like, yes, it is tax paradise, but it's regulated by Europe.
Tax paradises.
But you need to have your consultant. It doesn't mean that you come here and you do whatever you want.
No.
You need to have your advisor, because there's little details and this person will be able to advise you.
And some of these tax benefits have a time lapse. So you need someone like us to advise you so that you enroll and you absorb the benefits before they expire and they're not applicable to you. Don't try to do it on your own.
Yes. Let's go to another quick question.
Yes.
Because a lot of people now are choosing to be freelancers.
Yes.
I work with a lot of freelancers as well.
Yes.
Like there were individuals that they used to work in big companies, but because of the lifestyle shift, they choose to work on a contract, or they're freelancers. Georgiana is asking, these digital-based freelancers, are they a sole trade? Are they, if they work on their own, Are they?
They are considered to be sole traders.
Sole traders. They're not called freelancers. There is not another
category. The legal terminology used by the Cyprus Income Tax Office and Cyprus Social Security Office
is sole
traders.
So you have either a sole trader or the company with the benefits that you already described. Okay, so a couple of more questions. We're coming towards the end of our session, so if you have any last questions, type them in. I want you to tell us quickly the main mistakes that some of your clients make before they come to you, and they come to you to fix it.
How fast can I be?
Quickly. Okay. And keep it simple language for us, basic humans,
the first mistake,
not accounting humans.
The first mistake, it affects their taxes. Most of them, when we acquire them, they owe taxes. They don't know about it, or because they had poor providers, they didn't have up to the standard service providers to advise them correctly. So taxes, company taxes, especially in deemed dividend taxes due, taxes on their overdrafts, taxes on their debit director's current account balances. These are the most common mistakes that we see. So these people end up owing taxes without knowing it, because some taxes accrue 2 years after the closure of the financial statements. They never ask for a tax clearance. They haven't been advised by their advisor to get a tax clearance so that they know that up to the specific tax point, I do not owe any taxes. So the first pillar, I would say, affects taxes. The other pillar affects the investment. Most solopreneurs or small businesses or startups, they don't invest enough to their staff, to their knowledge, to their business, to marketing, to their infrastructure. And this means that they are constantly trying to keep up, wasting so much time and resources. Wise with the right guidance and advice, they could overcome this and be comfortable to generate more income instead of getting killed and burned on the day-to-day operations. This is very common. I can go into more detail, but infrastructure, infrastructure is very important. These people do not invest enough in their infrastructure. They don't have automated systems of invoicing. They don't have controls in place for their staff to know how they do it, procedures, how they should do it. They don't monitor them.
Let me give you an example. I had a client, I don't want to say his name, that when he came to me for mentoring 5 years ago, was before I met you.
Yes.
He had been burned before in Greece by accountants and taxes. And when we worked together on his mindset, his main limitation, he had made millions before and lost them, was I'm going to pay too much money in taxes, I'm going to have very bad accountants. And I told him the main thing you need to fix is to have somebody to advise you on your finances that you trust. Once he fixed that, his income within a year skyrocketed again.
Because you need a peace of mind. You need a peace of mind.
He organized all his taxes. He moved also, having moved everything to Cyprus, because he wasn't Cypriot or Greek, he's German. Having moved everything here and working with the right people, he got the confidence because he had been burned so many times by bad people and by taxes. He was afraid to make more money because he thought the government is going to take everything.
We get clients like that as well. Because there are some people who are not financially oriented at all, and they blindly believe what their accountants are saying, are telling them. And if you're in the wrong hands and your accountant is a captain of your ship, that's very bad. Some other mistakes, Pavlina, that we see is a lack of knowledge. So these business people, they don't know their numbers. They don't know their gross profit, their net profit. They don't know how to calculate their cash flows.
You cannot know everything. You need to know what you're great at, focus on what you're great at, and the first thing you do as a business owner is delegate certain tasks, and the first task you delegate is your accounting to a good person. And yes, Kyriakos can be your advisor, and you can email him for more information and to book a consultation with his office, with him.
It's important, though, for the business person to be open-minded and to be listening, true listening, instead of, because this is valuable advice that has to be implemented on a day-to-day.
From our side, we only recommend very credible people, knowledgeable.
Yes.
So, yes. What is his email? Can you type in his email, everyone? kt@cyprusaccountants.com.cy. We can also type it in. Can the team type it in now? I want to ask you as a couple of closing questions. What do you see as a common pattern, mindset of your most financially successful clients? Some habits that they have, a mindset that maybe you noticed as a pattern. We're talking about let's take people who started from scratch, ideally, so that they all start from the same place. What is the mindset and the habits of your most financially successful clients? Because we are all leveling up financially.
Yes. Actually, it's a very good question, because I've been noticing this myself to our various clients, because we have clients that keep growing and clients who are steady and their growth is marginal. I would say the first characteristic is that they are relentless. They are hungry, and they want to, and they are absorbing knowledge everywhere. So they want to learn new things. They educate themselves.
So they invest in their education.
Definitely. They invest in their education, and they are open-minded. What do we mean by open-minded? If they see a nice YouTube program, for instance, they will pay attention to it. If they listen to someone that he's doing one approach, they will pay enough attention to give it a go. They are technologically savvy, some of them, so they really invest in understanding their technologies.
It takes investment. You need to follow the new technologies, which is what you're doing.
And if they cannot do it, the ones that progress, their growth is extrapolated, is the ones who delegate to one of their team members, and they focus on the technology. So they are doers. They tease the water. They move from their comfort zones, and they try new things.
They're not the people who want to stay safe.
And also, Pavlina, something that I've noticed, and we need to talk a bit about this because nobody talks about it, they are great operators. So they are unease, they are hungry, they want to do more, they read more, they invest in their companies, they invest in themselves, but they are also great operators. What does it mean by great operators? For instance, if I receive a request for a quotation, and if I'm a great operator, it could take me 30 minutes to send my proposal. My competitor, it might take them 5 hours, it might take them 2 days. If I'm a great operator, it means I'm replying.
All your procedures in place.
Yes, I'm replying to emails instantly. While my competitor might have a 1 day.
People can see that.
Yes.
And the whole environment, everyone you work with can see that.
So being a great operator starts from the day-to-day small things and manifests in everything. So they know the financial elements that we are discussing with them. They know the technology. Say to set up something like what you set up today. They want to know, they read, and they know. They keep leveling up, as you said, of their knowledge and their experience.
Good. So it's like what I said before, when you keep investing in yourself and growing, the solutions appear, and this is the mindset of every successful person. And last question, you came to our bootcamps, the entrepreneur bootcamp, which is similar to this one. 3 years ago, approximately.
Maybe 4, I'm not sure.
You started building your business and personal brand. One of the first accountants we saw at our events, because you come from an industry that has a very different mindset with regards to marketing. So you implemented a lot. You started your YouTube channel.
Yes. Cyprus Accountants Academy.
Facebook ads, probably websites, all these things. What has been the main benefits to your business? If you can tell us like 3-4 things, 2-3 things, main things that happened when you started building your brand.
Basically, our brand was built because of the social media.
So you were invisible before.
We were invisible.
Maybe you were great, but people didn't know.
This is a common issue in Cyprus.
If you want to compete with the big guys in Cyprus and the KPMGs and all the, sorry, I don't want to mention companies, but the big four.
Not only the big four are not our competitors.
There are other big names. You need to build your brand name. Of course.
You need to, and the social media and the boot camps, what you taught us during is what I say is minimum effort, maximum return, because by spending some time on the social media, you get so much exposure that otherwise you had to physically visit 2,000 offices. It would take you, I don't know how many years so that so many people will see you.
I love that example. Imagine one accountant trying to visit or have 200 appointments.
And we are not social in our nature.
2,000 people, and you can do it with a click of a button on social media.
So basically the social media created our brand, and what we've managed to acquire from our brand is to acquire new clients from overseas and local clients. We got the validation that people now prospects who are considering acquiring our services, once they go to our YouTube channel, Cyprus Accountants Academy, they see that we know what we're talking about. They understand. We teach them about all aspects of taxation, of accounting, of relocating to Cyprus. Everything is there on the YouTube channel. So they like us, they listen to us, and in the end, they trust us. And once they trust us,
so you build this trust online,
you
put so much knowledge that people cannot question your knowledge even before they meet you.
And this goes for the competition, it goes for the industry, it goes for your existing clients. You are validated and people respect you and your employees and your firm as a whole, which is a nice thing to do. And you separate yourself from the crowd. It's minimum effort, maximum return, strongly advised. And we've learned, personally, I've learned all this. That's why we are sponsors to this event and we are participating in this event, because if it wasn't for you, Pavlina, we wouldn't do so many things. And we started our YouTube channel 3 years ago. Everyone was skeptical about it. All our friends, our clients were looking at us weirdly. What is he doing?
Everyone was looking at
I'm sure most of our competitors were having a go at us, laughing a bit. But now, it's a necessity, it's imperative to have one.
Especially in 2020, when I had so many messages from accountants, fiduciaries, like, oh my God, what do I do now? You know, I used to do all these conferences and go there in person, and I have no social media presence, and they trying to get started, you know.
So this is one characteristic that you've asked before, that they are relentless, they're successful people. So we are ready, we've been ready 2 years ago. We have more than 100 videos explaining all the tax aspects.
So notice the trends, take action, learn new things, be open-minded.
Open-minded,
and keep educating yourself. I think I will leave it here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Let us know if this was valuable.